Okay, hello everyone, welcome back again. Today we're going to be studying about present perfect tense, repetition, activity, and we're going to learn about how to use just, already, and yet in perfect phrases. Now, this lesson goes to 7 BC levels of our school. Now, let's begin. Now, in this class we're going to learn how to use present perfect tense, and we're going to use them with already, yet, and just. We're going to learn how to use them in perfect tense sentences. Now, rule 1. If we're talking about an event which happened in the past, and if we don't give an exact time, if you remember yesterday, 2 days ago, or last week, these are time expressions that are being used in simple past forms. But in perfect forms, we don't use these time expressions. We use the present perfect tense. And the exact time is not important in present perfect tense because the effect of the tense is still ongoing. Let's take a look at these examples. I have bought a new house. If you remember, in perfect form, we're using verb in the third form. I have made some changes. This means that the changes took place in the past, but the effect is still ongoing. I have painted the walls blue. That means the walls are blue now. I have changed the curtains. Now that means that the curtains are now new. If you see in these examples, we don't use simple past tense time expressions like yesterday, last week, or 2 days ago. Now we've got some present perfect or past simple tense activities here. We're going to learn how to use them in the test questions. For example, Peter football yesterday. As you can see, we've got a time expression here which refers and takes us to the past, which means we need to use past tense, which takes us the example with ed. Peter played football yesterday. That's why we don't use has played or have played. Now, if we take a look at the second question, the car, it looks new again. That means it affects the result for now. That means that we don't have a past tense time expression, we can't use the past form. Since they used the subject they, I can't use has because has is used with singular subjects like she, he, or it. That's why they takes us to perfect have cleaned answer. Now the third one. Last year we to Italy. Since they use the time expression last year, it takes us to past form, which is went. That's why I don't even have to check the next two answers. 4. She a new car in 2011. Since we are in now 2020, it takes us to a past form, which is bought, as you can guess. Now, rule 2. We often use the present perfect tense to talk about a continuing situation. The situation is still ongoing. This is a state that started in the past, here, and continues in present, still ongoing, and will probably continue into the future. This is a state, it's not an action. If this was an action, it would be in the past. But since it's a state, it is still ongoing. For example, David has been at sea since July, so the action is still ongoing. He hasn't seen his family for 5 months. The action, the state, is still ongoing. As you can see, since refers to beginning and for refers to a duration. So that's why they use July as a beginning note in the past, but still the action is ongoing. But 5 months is a duration on a timeline, which before that, that's why we use for. Sam became a shoemaker in 1970. In 1970 is a past time expression, so we use the past. He is still working is a continuous time expression, which is present continuous tense. So that means that he has been a shoemaker since 1970. It's a start point in the past, but being a shoemaker is a still ongoing process. So that's why we use has been in the perfect form. Now, we've got some exercises for or since. Let's take a look at the first one. I have worked in a company February. Now, I need to think, does it refer to a duration or does it refer to a beginning point in the past? Now, since February is a beginning point, it's not a duration, I can confidently cross A for the answer. Now the second one. Thomas has been in Poland the beginning of the year. So the beginning of the year refers to, for example, 1st of January. So does it refer to a beginning point or does it refer to a duration? Since you can see, since it's the beginning point in the year, as you can see the word is the same, so I'm going to use since. 3. I have been interested in English 10 years. 10 years is a duration. So I need to use for, since it's not a beginning of a time expression. 4. I have read lots of books about philosophy 6 months. Is it a beginning? No, it needs to use a name for that. For example, January, like in the first question, or February. But since it's a duration, I need to circle B for the answer. Hope that 4 and 6 are clear for you. Now, rule 3. If we use present perfect tense for an action which happened in the near past and it has a strong connection or effect to the present, we're using perfect tense. I have broken my arms and it still hurts. That means its effect is still ongoing. It's still continuing. Rule 4. If we're talking about a period which hasn't finished, then we can use the present perfect tense. We can use these time expressions with perfect tense like today, this morning, this week, this month, this year, this century. You can say that it's almost the same as simple present tense, but no. The time expressions we use in simple present tense are like yesterday, or last week, or last month, etc. So the time expressions are here referring now rather than the past. Okay, another example. Would you like to go to the cinema? Cinema? Are they kidding? I haven't watched TV this month. No, thank you. I have been to cinema twice this week. Since its effect is still ongoing, I'm using perfect tense as in the example. Now, since we talked about perfect tense using a third form of the verb in perfect tense, here are some examples that you can see. Regular verbs that we can say are played, finished, or helped. These are ed form of these words, and these are referring the perfect form, which are regular. But the irregular verbs changes not entirely, time to time entirely, but partly. Drink, drank, drunk. Drunk is the third form of the verb, which does not take ed like the regular ones. See, saw, seen. Have, had, had. Let's take a look at the examples. I haven't finished my homework yet. Since it's a regular form of word, we're taking ed at the end of it to combine or to finish it with the third form. She has just had lunch. Have, had, had. The second and the third form of have is the same. I haven't seen my grandma for 2 weeks. Here, see, saw, seen. That's the example for seen. Now, rule number 4. We've got already, just, and yet for the time expressions to use in perfect tense. Let's take a look at already, just, and yet. The first one that we're going to learn is just. How is just used in the sentences? We use just when an action happened recently. If I show this on a timeline, it's happening now, but since it's close here, we're using just. I have just eaten breakfast. That means that I am full now. The process and the action's effect is still ongoing. Ongoing effect for now. Now the second one that we're going to learn is already. We use already when an action happens sooner than expected. We use already in positive sentences, just like we use just. But what's the difference? If you draw a timeline for this, just is closer to now and already is a bit in the past. I have already page 20. That means that I am, for example, on 30 now or 40. So I have done that already. I don't have to do it. The next one that we're going to learn is yet. So we use yet when we think an action will happen soon. So the action has not taken place. So I haven't eaten lunch yet. Here we use yet at the end of the sentence, while just and already is being used after the helping verb. And also yet is used is not in positive but in negative sentences. Here are some more examples. If we're using already, the action has already been done. I've already cleaned my room. That means it's clean now. She has already sent the email. So the mail is sent. If we're planning to do something, we're using yet. That means the action has not finished. I haven't cleaned my room. She hasn't sent the email. Have you finished your work? So that means that we're using yet in negative and also in question forms, which is quite important. If the action has been recently done, we're using just, which is, if you remember, closer to now. I've just cleaned my room, or she has just sent the email. Let's take a look at the examples. For example, playing golf. He has already played golf. Now he is going to play tennis. The action has already been done, and now he is going to pass to some other activity. Now finish the homework. Since we've got a cross, I understand that it has a negative meaning, so I'm using yet. He hasn't finished the homework yet. Now, wake up. He has just waken up. The action is closer to now. Or watch Harry Potter. I've already watched Harry Potter 3 times. So, for example, I don't need to watch it now because I have already seen the movie. Now, while asking and answering the questions, let's take a look at these examples. Have you gone to the break yet? Here you can see in the questions form, we use yet. Yes, I have already gone to the break. In the positive sentences, we use already and we use it after the helping verb. No, I haven't gone to break yet. Again, it's a negative sentence and I'm using yet at the end. Have you had lunch yet? Here, when I see a question form, I can easily go for yet. Yes, I have already had lunch. Already is used after the helping verb, just like just. No, I haven't had lunch yet. Again, it's a negative sentence and I'm using yet at the end. Now, we've got some exercises to complete just, already, and yet. My son went to the supermarket, but he hasn't come back. If you remember, the third form of come is the same as the first form. Come, came, come. He hasn't come back. Since it's a negative sentence, I can easily use yet. Leonard made his bed, but he hasn't called his girlfriend. Since it's negative, I understand that it's a yet. But since the time hasn't passed so much, I can use just. The writer has brought me some coffee and biscuits. I don't need extra things. So that means that I still have them. So I'm using just. Have they visited? Question form. I'm using yet. I have been waiting for 2 hours. You can't go out without tidying up your room. I'm sorry, as the mother suggests. Don't worry, Mom. I have already tidied up. So that means the room is tidy. Now, for the perfect tense activity, this was all from me. I thank you for listening. Be safe, and stay healthy, everyone.